Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Star Wars Visions Season 3 Episode 7, The Smuggler. The episode is rated TV-PG, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for the episode, and potentially, hypothetically, everything Star Wars leading up to it. We'll see as we go. And yeah, another episode that I absolutely loved. So I think a good place to start is I appreciate how much of like a what's the word? Like riff, I guess, of A New Hope that this is. The way that, you have a smuggler on the planet needing money. There's even a cantina, and they what's the word? They're supposed to transport at least one young person and at least one member of a royal family, and they start out doing it for the money, and by the end they are, you know, part of the rebellion. And it's one of those things. I think they change enough that it doesn't feel like just okay, well, we've seen this before. And yeah, I think that yeah, so you know right. I also felt like the actress did a really solid job giving a lot of nuance to a performance that, like, the first chunk of it is like acting through clenched teeth, and then there's a bunch of like snark, and there's some pretty big emotions, and the ability to tie all that together into a cohesive, coherent performance. Very impressive. Yeah, let's see. We have the yeah. So she goes into the um yes, the cantina, and offers some valuable feedback, but he's already heard it. And yeah, at one point she reaches for her blaster, and then suddenly the droid is like aiming its gun at her. I guess he shot first, almost, at least. And yeah, she realizes she's just gonna have to somehow make enough money to pay for that. And the let's see, I think that pretty much brings us, let's see, yeah, so she right. I also like the way that they told the story at the opening with a very quick montage and a voiceover. It's a little unusual for Star Wars to, because it's the kind of thing they could have done that with an opening crawl, and I'm glad that they went for this instead. Yeah. So yeah, you know, Galinu overheard or possibly used telepathy. I'm not entirely sure. Um, she knows about you know, the money problems, and I will say that when, so yeah, she says 10,000. And not long after, we hear, oh, 100,000 is the bounty. So I was thinking, oh, she's going to realize that this is the prince, and she's going to have to decide between, doing the right thing or, earning more, which is genuinely that, I mean, I wish a lot of rich people would choose to do the right thing instead of earning a lot more. And yeah, let's see, we have the But yeah, ultimately, instead it ends with her refusing payment since they'll need money for the rebellion. Yeah, so they, she agrees, but her, co-pilot is, you know, yeah, very, very afraid of the Imperials. And when the prince said, that he'll fly, you know, I just want there to be an outtake where she goes, listen, not everybody can fly the Millennium Falcon. Or perhaps I think you need to be able to, can you get that cover off your eyes first? Because I'm not sure how much you can even see with that thing. But the, let's see, very impressive scanning thing that manages to deduce that really is the prince who got anastasia'd, except for the amnesia. And the, let's see. Again, I just want there to be an outtake where the droid says, not too short, the right one. And the, at that point, the Connors understand what Cameron's trying to convey to them. Yeah, I really appreciated so they're just arresting everyone that, fits a certain description and like handcuffing them, even as, a lot of people have an issue with it, but they have guns and no ethics. And I don't think this episode was made long enough, or was made, written and animated recently enough that this could be purposefully commenting on ICE. Can't help but read that way now, to me. But yeah, I really appreciated that he actually fights them. Some cool choreography. The flip he does, grabbing one of the stormtroopers, because it's one of those things. They do have armor. Armor's not going to matter when you're getting flipped. Compared to if they tried to shoot or something. And the, let's see. I think that pretty much brings us to... I like that Gleenu hid the Jedi past as much as she could. It really... There was no choice by the time when she actually unveils that. Yeah, and the thing about, the Empire says, it was a failed coup attempt. But yeah. And the pilot is also like, yeah, I know it's such a BS story, I mean, listen, if there was an unsuccessful coup attempt, then why weren't they all pardoned, including the criminals who went on to do more crime? It just, that wouldn't make any kind of sense. If you're talking about like a dictator and... Yeah, I think I've made my point. Let's see, yeah, I like the thing about, he would sneak in to get piloting practice. And yeah, so they, the people love the prince so much that they get a vehicle, and that thing of so yeah, he suggests, no, we gotta lead the, the away. I still think it makes more sense to say ATST, whatever. yeah, and I appreciate the way they're managing to write either an ATST or an ATAT or multiple into. I think there's been in each, maybe not every single. No, I guess not every single episode, but I think the majority of the episodes of this season. And yeah, very cool driving on the road. Zenorita is gorgeous, by the way. The mountain and the city and just, yeah, incredible looking. And the thing about, well, we got to jump, and there was also, I like the thing about, he's a good shot, or he's good at dodging my shots. Stop complimenting him. Don't compliment the machine. And, yeah, jump. And, ultimately he does manage to follow them, but they were in a really bad spot, as the character George Clooney plays in "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" would put it. But yeah, they land in front of the troops, and I like that the bounty hunter is like, no, this is my bounty, yeah, um, and the um, yeah, ultimately Galeno has no choice, so she gets out the lightsaber and deflects. First he just shoots a few times, and then he sets it to like auto fire, and then he shoots a bunch more. She deflects all of them, looking like a complete badass. I appreciate also the sort of, I guess, is it an anti-ageist sort of thing? This thing of like, yeah, so just because someone is older doesn't mean they can't still be amazing at something, but yeah, so he set it to full auto. He fired for a while, and then it breaks because it's running on System Shock 2 laws. And yeah, the explosions also looked really, really cool. The using the force telekinetically to make a sort of shield. Let's see, and I guess that is when they get on the ship. She did say early on they were in the same boat, and they fly away. Some really amazing aerial acrobatics, like holy crap, dodging missiles, using missiles to hit TIE fighters. I miss playing, what was it, that one called? X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I think. That was fun. Like the detail about, all power to the engines, I think it was. Boy, it's been a long time since I played a video game where that mattered. And then we have the, yeah, they managed to jump into hyperspace just before, right in front of the Star Destroyer. And yeah, she says, hey, as long as you're fighting the Empire, as long as you need the money more than I do. And then he's like, we need you. And I love the way that it closes in on her face and then transitions still on her face. Like, is it called a match cut if there's a transition? I forget. And she's in the ship and they're flying, and just, yeah, such a cool, and the thing about how she says, well, she used to be a Jedi. Now the Jedi are no more. So now she has a different, she what's the word? She's devoted to freeing the planet. Now that the Jedi Order themselves are no more, and that's again, there's so many, in life. Sometimes we fight for something, and then it turns out that thing, like maybe you accomplish it, maybe it is rendered moot by something or such, but it's great if you can find another good thing to fight for, you know. Um, I'm a big believer in, as long as we can, we should stand up to evil. And obviously, in real life, violence should only ever be the last resort. It's only in fiction that I am in favor of it. The vast majority of the time. Let's see. I think that pretty well covers. Considering that by the end of the episode, no one actually fired a weapon inside the cantina at all. I guess no one shot first.